Coming up tonight on YCN News, local governors and members of the congressional delegation thank veterans today for their service to the country. Plans to bring comprehensive health care to 5 towns in the Mascoma Valley continue to move forward. And Fred Fuller Oil and Propane files for bankruptcy. For more news, weather, and sports, it's time for YCN, your local view.
Now, your daily digest of the Dartmouth-Lake Sunapee region, southern Vermont, and Windsor County. News, sports, weather, and all that is happening in our area. The news on YCN, your local view.
Good evening, and welcome to this Tuesday edition of YCN News. I'm Rose Spillman. It's Veterans Day today, and servicemen and women, past and present, are being remembered and thanked for their service to the country. At Broad Street Park in downtown Claremont, an 11 a.m. ceremony included the playing of Taps by Stevens High School senior Thomas Lee. American Legion Post 29 Commander Sam Zanini reminded the audience that recognizing veterans and active duty military members needs to happen every day, not just one day a year. And Zanini says it is the whole family that serves when a mother or father are in the military. All family members are affected, and this also needs to be remembered. Members of the congressional delegation and the governors from New Hampshire and Vermont are thanking veterans as well. Vermont Governor Peter Shumlin says veterans answer the call to serve with pride and courage. New Hampshire Governor Maggie Hassan says society must ensure veterans and their families receive the support they deserve. U.S. Senator for New Hampshire Jean Shaheen says veterans represent the best of the Granite State. Congresswoman Ann McLean Custer from New Hampshire's District 2 says all veterans' patriotism, commitment, and valor must be honored. Custer is a member of the House Veterans Affairs Committee. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders currently chairs the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee. New VA Secretary Bob McDonald says the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs is about to embark on a thorough overhaul to improve care and services for all U.S. veterans. A plan to bring comprehensive health care to 5 towns in Mascoma Valley continues to move forward, gaining money for funding and commitments from residents who live in the towns the health center will serve. Yesterday night in Enfield, drawings of the proposed 1- or 2-story building on Route 4 and Roberts Road were shown to board members and nearly 20 audience members. By early 2015, about $376,000 to begin site plans and building work is expected to be raised. Between now and January, board member Carolyn Barney says $321,000 in commitments and pledges has been secured. Later next year, the facility is expected to open. Its mission is to serve uninsured and underinsured children, men, and women from Enfield, Canaan, Dorchester, Orange, and Grafton. Board members include medical doctors and healthcare experts from the Upper Valley. To learn more about this grassroots group and its work, go online to mascomacommunityhealthcare.org. Its slogan is Right Care, Right Cost, Right Here. Brattleboro, Vermont is known as a community that follows the beat of its own drum. Now residents continue to march ahead of many other towns when it comes to recycling. Its recycling rate has increased since last year when a voluntary curbside compost program began, the Brattleboro Reformer reports. That's a habit the town has gotten into, ahead of a mandatory statewide recycling program takes effect in July next year. Known as Act 148, this universal recycling law extends to food scraps. Vermont state lawmakers passed the bill in 2012. It will be phased in with the July 1, 2015 ban on throwing away paper, glass, metal, or plastic items. Leaf, yard debris, and clean wood recycling begins July 1, 2016. By July 1, 2020, food scraps must be recycled or composted. Act 148 requires solid waste haulers and recycling centers to collect these items. Indeed, the Yankee motto of use it up, make it do, wear it out applies. A follow-up to yesterday's report of 2 Randolph, Vermont teenagers in police custody for being suspected of criminal threatening. Acting Police Chief Loretta Stalnaker says the 14 and 15-year-old suspects have been criminally charged and are in state custody. Both are being held at Woodside under the supervision of the Vermont Department of Children and Families. Police are not releasing the gender or identity of the teens. When YCN News returns, a police dog captures 2 suspects who fled the scene of a car crash in Surrey, New Hampshire, and Fred Fuller Oil and Propane files for bankruptcy protection.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Rose Spillman. A police dog captured 2 suspects who fled the scene of a car crash in Surrey, New Hampshire yesterday night. First responders from Keene and Surrey rushed to Route 12 North on a report of a single car crash. Police searched for a 2006 Toyota Highlander shortly after the 7:50 p.m. collision. The Highlander, driven by 43-year-old Darren Lanoy of Bellows Falls, went off the road, hit a utility pole, and slid down an embankment. Lanoy's passenger, 41-year-old Tricia Benoit-Quint, got out of the car and ran away. The force of the collision knocked out power lines. Route 12 was shut down for about 4 hours in the area. A state trooper and canine storm searched the area, picking up the car occupant's trail. It took 2 searches before the couple was found by the police dog and his handler. Lanoy and Benoit-Quint were taken into custody, say police. They were found in the Indian Arrowhead Preserve by Canine Storm. Benoit-Quint suffered minor injuries but refused medical attention. Lanoy was not injured and also refused medical attention. Lanoy was charged by police with DWI and conduct after an accident. He was being held at the Cheshire County House of Correction for lack of $2,500 cash bail. He's expected to appear in court tomorrow morning on the charges. A house fire in Bennington is not arson, yet damage to the home is about $25,000, say police. The fire began yesterday shortly before 11 a.m. at 2633 Chapel Road in Bennington. The home belongs to Ronald and Sheila Harrington. Working smoke detectors sounded and the couple escaped from the home. Firefighters found heavy smoke and flames to the home's interior when they arrived on the scene. The fire was so intense that crews had to back out. Later, they were able to enter the basement. Police say there is heavy damage throughout the home. No injuries were reported. The cause of the fire remains undetermined but is not believed to be suspicious, police report. First responders included the Bennington Rural Fire Department, fire departments from Bennington Village and Shaftesbury, the Bennington Rescue Squad, and Green Mountain Power. And now, turning again to Brattleboro, Steve Rice is the Vermont Music Teacher of the Year. Rice leads the Brattleboro Union High School Band and chairs its music department. His education career spans 27 years. Turning again to New Hampshire news, the Associated Press reports today that an embattled oil and propane company filed for bankruptcy protection yesterday. Fred Fuller Oil and Propane serves about 30,000 customers. It is unclear how these customers will be served. The New Hampshire legislature passed a law last year stemming from pre-buy home heating oil contracts that the company could not honor. Lawmakers mandated that no oil or fuel company could solicit or advertise any pre-buy contracts before May 1st. Fred Fuller's assets and liabilities are each between $10 and $15 million. When YCN News returns, we'll hear from River Valley Chronicles' Elizabeth DeRazio, who met with Pamela Pantos to talk about holiday events and performances at Opera North.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Rose Spillman. Now Matt McDonald will have a look at our weather for the next few days and then move on to sports.
Thanks, Rose. Tonight we'll have patchy fog after 11 p.m. with possible drizzles after 3 a.m. Skies will be mostly cloudy with calm winds and lows in the upper 40s. Tomorrow morning we'll experience some rain and fog before 8 a.m. with a 30% chance of precipitation. Showers are possible between 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. Skies will be mostly cloudy but should clear up with highs in the 50s and winds up to 10 miles per hour. Wednesday night will be mostly clear with a low of 29 degrees and winds between 5 and 10 miles per hour. Thursday will be partly sunny with winds up to 10 miles per hour and highs around 42 degrees. Thursday night we have a 30% chance of snow with mostly cloudy skies and lows in the upper 20s. Now let's see what's coming up on our community calendar. Tomorrow in New Hampshire, the Grantham Select Board will meet at 5 p.m. In Danbury, the Select Board will meet at 6 p.m. At 6:30 p.m., the Claremont City Council meeting will begin, and at 7 p.m., the Winchester Select Board will meet. Remember, you can submit local events from your community by sending them to news@ycnnow.com. Now that high school fall tournaments are mostly over, YCN News would like to bring you updates on Manchester Monarchs ice hockey. Over the weekend, the Monarchs made a great 2-1 victory over Springfield at the Verizon Wireless Arena in Manchester. The Monarchs' Nick Shore scored 2 goals for his team. Springfield managed 1 point with a shot by Sean Collins. The win puts the Monarchs at 6 wins and 4 losses so far this season. They are headed to Portland tonight for a game starting at 7 p.m.
Thanks, Matt. When YCN News continues, we'll join Capital Connections' John O'Connor.
The YCN News continues in a moment.